the refereeing team. In the middle, we have Dario Scantleberry. He will be the man with the whistle in the middle. The assistant referees will be Hazard Weeks, Keel Howard, and the fourth official is Seth Torn. Of course, it's good to see in the middle Darian Scantleberry, a player that I would have coached at the Collision Party school. Funny enough, he won the under-19 knockout as a schoolboy, so it's good to see him in the middle. We're about to do the meet and greet of the players. The president of the Barbados Secondary Schools League, Mr. Ren Ramsey, shaking the hand of the officials. We have our Vice President, Mr. Stefan King, also with the meet and greet, and one of our principal sponsors, represented by
hello
Mr.
and welcome
Clifford
to the Barbados Football Association's technical area, technical center, beg your pardon, here at Wildy St. Michael, Barbados, West Indies, in the Caribbean Sea. Yours truly, Trevor Thorne from Commentator Sports Incorporated. Alongside me this evening, Mr. Kwame Paris, one of my good old mates when it comes to commentary on the half line in most of the Barbados matches. Pleasant evening to you, Kwame, as we look forward to this, the final of the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final, bringing together St. Leonard's School in the red kit this evening and St. George Secondary in the blue and white. Good evening, Kwame.
Good evening to you, Trevor. Especially good evening to viewers on the Trident 10 television YouTube stream.
And Kwame, two teams synonymous with football in Barbados. Many of our senior players at this time would have passed through the schools of the likes of St. Leonard's, St. George, and as well as in the under-16 final as well. We had Lodge, as well as Combermere, all schools known for the wonderful sport of football. And tonight, no better way to crown the 2025 season, 24-25 season for the secondary schools, but to bring together the two top teams in red, St. Leonard's, as well as in the blue and white, the St. George team here at the BFA Technical Centre.
Looking forward to a good game, Trevor. Fabian Messiah, noted coaching in Barbados circles at the school level and at the Premier League level, and also recently with joined the under-17 team coaches under Kent Hall, and Kevin Bishop, a referee, more notably, who's done some coaching at the school level, and he's done pretty well with this St. George unit. So congratulations to him to get into the finals, and hopefully his team could put up a good showing as well.
It'd be remiss of me if I didn't mention too that Fabian Messiah also has another feather in his cap would have coached the UWI Blackbirds to the 2024 inaugural Prime Minister's Cup semi-professional football as well. And in the midst of what he has for him this evening, a man that likes to score goals, loves to wear the 10 as well, Rivaldo Messiah, who plays for the UE Blackbirds in the Premier League and heads here the St. Leonard's schoolboys team as well. So really good game to look forward to here at the BFA Technical Centre as the officials go out. It is this evening Darian Scanterbury will be your centre referee. Azard Weeks is AR number 1. Keil Howard, assistant ref number 2. And young Seth Thorne making his way into the ranks of referees, up-and-coming referees, and with aspirations obviously of going on to continue with his Premier League refereeing, as well as get across the region in CONCACAF and CSU as well. So 4 up-and-coming refs here in this particular match. Same thing we had in the previous game as well. And it augurs well that with four up-and-coming top refs, as well as the 2 top teams meeting here this evening, hold on to your seats, folks, because this one is likely to be a humdinger. Both teams with crafty midfielders, solid as a rock defenders, good goalkeepers, and men that can score goals as well, as we get ready and set for the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final. We've tried it 10 on our shoulders to push the commentary through the technology and the social media. Yours truly, Trevor Thorne, from Commentator Sports Incorporated, alongside Kwame Paris, has said we will take you through this one this evening. Just grab a soft drink or some type of beverage and settle yourselves into your armchairs, because this one is likely to be a real end-to-end action-packed match here at the BFA Technical Centre. It's over to Darius Canterbury for the kickoff. Just checking his assistant refs to make sure that their comms are A-OK. The 2 teams will get rolling very, very shortly in this, the Under-19 Barbados Secondary Schools Football League final. There it is, off and running. It's with the St. George secondary team floating this one over to that left-hand side and put it back into a playing position there. St. George will allow it to flow on this nice slippery, slick surface of the technical centre at the BFA turf. Again, both teams now trying to settle themselves into a playing rhythm at this point in time. But just about a minute gone, and the first challenge comes in. This time around, St. George's, I think that is Javon Ali putting that left foot in on the attacker there, Kwame, and creating the first foul of the evening after just about a minute. 0-0 between St. George Secondary and the St. Leonard School. So St. Leonard's here now with Johnny Payne, who float it far side on the left, put too much on it there, and still getting a feel of the surface, Kwame, as well as the ball itself as well. And that one came off the boot rather quickly, the left foot, and made its way over the goal line.
He's a pretty seasoned player at this level as well. He plays for the Barbados Soccer Academy. The left footer. He actually made a Barbados youth team a couple of years ago as well at the under 17 level. He's usually a left back, but interestingly enough, he seems to be playing as one of the center backs in this defensive line. So let's see how he goes, but he's predominantly a left footer. But he's playing the right sided center back at the moment.
A bit of a readjustment there for the youngster. That ball played in towards the penalty area. We'll need some clearing, given away. Chance for the first right foot shot coming in there from the St. George attacker I think it was Scott at this point in time, but they've pressed the defense here of St. Leonard's and got themselves a throw-in on the right-hand side. 3 minutes in. St. George in the blue this evening. Throw-in taken away quickly by Nightingale on that far left, and good defensive work in the end from the St. Leonard's lads. They've allowed that one to ease over the goal line, and they've got their goal kick to remain in possession of the ball after 3 minutes.
I was getting confused with Porter and Payne, who have, from this vantage point, looks like similar hairstyles and similar build, the number 5 and number 6 respectively for St. Leonard's.
Yeah, that's going to be confusing because, as you said before, they're both playing centrally. So we'll see how that one rolls over. Keeper comes, he's going to need to be smart here. Still, the two teams look to settle. Attacking header there coming in as Marshall gets involved. All the way back to this right back positioning. And St. Leonard's will take their time about it and get their wits about themselves as well. The first couple of minutes of jitters, surely you can see that here, Kwame, as the two teams look to settle.
As you said, it's a little slippery out there. You can see a couple of players not being able to maintain their footing. Maybe the length of the pedestal they're wearing on the surface may not be appropriate, but may also have a little bit of dew in the atmosphere. So it's a bit chilly as well. And if you're not properly warmed to the occasion, you might just be hesitant to really spring to life, trying to get into the game and taking it, a bit slowly.
To get going.
Yeah.
So defensive challenge there from DeAndre Mitchell, again the number 9 for the St. George base team. And the throwing goes to St. Leonard's boys after 5 minutes. Porter down the line. Ball comes back into Porter's area. He has to get back quickly. And he's injured in the process as well. Referee Canterbury sees it and calls it straight away. I think he got a elbow or at least a hand to the upper body there. And referee Canterbury, knowing that the protocols will be observed, calls for the medic straight away. And Porter will receive some treatment. Kimara Porter received some treatment just about 6 minutes on the clock. Coach Messiah comes on to administer. Never seen him do that before really, but hey, his schoolboys football, perhaps he wants to offer some instructions as well at the same time, be smart about it. So there he is, as you can see, he's calling some shots there as the water and so on is administered as well, Kwame.
And that comes with experience as well, recognizing that it's also, an added opportunity to coach without time being elapsed on the clock.
So DeAndre Mitchell receives, cuts past the first defender there, left foot square for a post, chance to put it on target. And Roger Collins, the Paradise man that's on fire in the BFA Premier League, leaps, but then fails to direct it on target with just about 6.5 on the clock. So danger for St. Leonard's there, as we saw Mitchell really showing that he has a superb left foot to put it right on the forehead of Collins, but Collins didn't have the wherewithal to readjust the body in time there, Kwame, to put it on target.
Yeah, delightful ball. And what I wanted to add to is good to see that someone with a left foot is playing on the left side, because in modern day football, we have so much of this inverting and players playing on the left or right, cutting into their stronger foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good to see that, the left-sided player there, Ian Mitchell, is actually conventional, basically. Yeah, rather than the unorthodox stuff that we're accustomed to seeing now, trying to whip the ball in from the opposite side with a strong foot. So we'll see how that plays out. There may be even a change from time to time where he may go over to the right to try to really put a shot on target with his brilliant left foot. But at this point in time, as you said, they're playing the conventional men in their positions. And we'll see how long the Kevon Bishop team will maintain exactly what he's doing here. Strong challenge coming in there as the possession rate moves to just about 52% to the St. George base and Blue Jersey St. George team at this point. But early days yet. They are having the run of the mill basically, because the ball is remaining on their boot quite often. But it's yet to be seen what the St. Leonard's team have up their sleeves. And we'll only see that when they get the possession as time goes on. 8 minutes on the clock here in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final. 0-0 the score between St. Leonard's in the red and the blue and white of St. George Secondary.
Start encounter so far, no real fluency in passing. I would say that St. George may feel like they've wasted some possessions after being in a good position to transition, having won the ball in the midfield with adequate space. There hasn't been that composure on the ball to use it better, and they've found themselves trying to play that penetrative pass quite early and not really having that coordination or understanding between the two attackers and giving the ball away quite easily. Another example there.
Yeah, just not showing any patience at all. Want to get forward as quickly as possible, but without the accuracy to really create a chance. Agree with you there, Kwame. Down the right goes St. Leonard's. They look to put together a couple of passes. Now they stark contrast to the St. George team who want to get forward really, really quickly. But St. Leonard's now have calmed it down, and you can see that's 5 passes on the trot in towards an attacking posture here. Out comes the goalkeeper, Prescott, and takes it cleanly. But definite difference between the two teams there, where St. Leonard's cool, calm, and collected in possession, able to knock it around, and St. George helter-skelter to get forward way too quickly, and of course give away possession as well. So 10 in to the Under-19 final right here in beautiful Barbados. We're at the BFA Technical Centre, and at this point in time, 0-0 the score. St. Leonard's 0, St. George Secondary 0, and Messiah is the one that is animated. Coach Messiah in the white hoodie. He's the one that's settling his team best at this point in time to put the ball on the carpet and get some possession. Well, St. George is pretty quiet in the technical area with Kevon Bishop, not really moving at this point in time. 10.5 on the clock, and again, Kwame, stop and start in the two teams, with St. George coming forward now on the right-hand side. Ball prodded forward by Keshawn Greenidge there, wearing the number 6. And the left boot stuck out by the defender there, giving away the throw-in into minute 11. And crowd building quite nicely here too. Kwame, look at this, the spectatorship here. We're not at capacity, but we must say we are really filling up quite nicely for a schools final, compared to many other tournaments that may come across the BFA Technical Centre.
It's a nice change too, as in playing the finals and the likes.
Yeah, definitely so. I think they've played all season long. They deserve to be highlighted, to be on the showcase piece on a Friday night, and no better way to spend your Friday night. Normally we out liming at let's say Oystins and so on. Tonight we're enjoying some superb football on a Friday night as well. Similar to what we will see in like the German Bundesliga Friday night football, has come to the party here now. Ball across the 18-yard box. The defensive header comes in, and St. George weathering the storm there, had to cleared brilliantly in the end when Kamar Clark came all the way back from his defensive midfield position to find himself on the edge of the 18-yard box to clear with his right foot and avert the danger here at the BFA Technical Centre. It's artificial turf that we're on, and therefore the ball, as the dew comes and settles on the surface, the ball will move a bit quicker from time to time, and players must be cognizant of that fact and be able to readjust their control and passing game to really get the benefits out of a surface like this. 13 on our clocks here at the Wildy, and St. George in possession, looking to come across the field. Solid tackle again there, as that's a free kick all day long, where Rivaldo Messiah putting his hand up while trying to control it with the thigh. Free kick to St. George on 13 minutes. 0-0 the score. St. Leonard's 0, St. George Secondary 0.
And that would definitely frustrate Messiah, because he's hardly had a touch. In fact, on each instance he's touched the ball, the whistle was blown.
Just his luck.
Just his luck.
I think he too, because he's accustomed playing on this surface, will need to get accustomed to it. He should have been getting accustomed to it faster, but somehow he's what we call sleeping at the wheel. He's complacent, thinking that's going to be A-OK, and he hasn't actually reacted quick enough to get his foot right on the ball to create the havoc that we know he can, as he does when he's playing for the UWI Blackbirds as well. St. George coming back in numbers and stuffing out that opportunity to go right side for St. Leonard's in Shemaj Best on that right-hand side, but they've won themselves a throw-in. This is the St. Leonard's lads, and we'll leave it this time for Best. It looks like no. Coach Messiah says no. He wants Best to be the receiver of a pass, and here it is now. Ball cut towards the edge of the 18-yard box. The right foot shot comes in. It's high and not so handsome from the St. Leonard's number 15 in Marshall, and that's easy as you like for goalkeeper Prescott to take and float 65 yards up the field. Again, some defensive work for St. George to do. One possession, float it towards the inside left channel. Looking for Collins, the danger man, who's buried the ball plenty of times this season, but couldn't get onto it now. Through ball played, sprinting away. St. George will defend strong at left back position. Coming up the field and winning it is Best as he goes on a run on the right hand side. Try to put it across the 18-yard box there. Strong challenge coming in again. Here's Collins. Plays a decent ball. St. George are in. Got some brilliant work there from Scantlebury coming across there and stealing the ball away. Ball over the touchline. Be a St. George secondary throw on that far left. But St. George now starting to settle just a bit, getting 2, 3, 4 passes put together there, Kwame. But St. Leonard's with the answers to stop them from coming forward and putting the ball over the touchline and actually winning a ricocheted ball for a throw-in as well.
The foul there committed by the number 8 of St. Leonard's, Scantlebury, pushing the back. Chance to get numbers forward as well for the St. George team, playing their shirts going forward.
Ball falls kindly, just to put it through the space with pace. St. George will defend now. A quick look over the shoulder. And a fake, in fact 2 fakes to go with it. A good little turn there as well from Javon Aline. Ball given away, however. Here comes St. Leonard's now into an attacking position. First one is a dribble, and then the shot comes in from Aragon Bridgman Seal, the number 7 from 18 yards out, but it's always rising high, and no problems at all for Prescott in the St. George goal there. But again, we're now seeing that St. Leonard's starting to really come to the party now, touching it around a few times, and then Bridgman Seal with the shot there, Kwame, not too far off either after 17 minutes.
It was interesting to note the position he took up in that possession. He's not playing on the wing. He's not holding to the touchline. He's more coming inside as more of a forward, into a forward position. So they're not playing with that width.
Yeah, definitely not. Ball played harmlessly across the far side. Can he keep it in? Yes, got the pace to do that. St. George maintaining possession at right back. Come inside, play a forward ball. Looks as though it was a bit unadvisable when he had men around him that he could have actually just kept the player running. Here comes St. Leonard's down the left-hand side. Players coming together, says referee Canterbury. Play on. George come out on the right this time. Collins, little sombrero on this occasion. Canterbury, sorry, not Collins, I don't think it was at that stage. Collins a little deeper on the inside. But game now freeing up itself just a bit after 18 minutes, Kwame, and both teams now enjoying a lot more possession than they had in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, but as you said, there was a pass available there to Davion Chase in number 14, and as we've seen in previous possessions, whenever they've won the ball in the midfield, they try to rush the player forward to get Roger Collins into the game when they have better passing options around them. And keeping that possession could just help to keep a balance of play, because you don't want to be forward and back and transitioning all the time. You're going to get tired. You're playing 40 minutes a half, but still.
A good move round the right. Square comes in. And some good defensive work there. Just deep in his own half. I think it's Najib Bruce that came across and stuck out the right boot to get it, to push it around the corner there. But for sure, St. Leonard's getting into it more and more, especially a bit more as more of a patient game where they're finding their players to the foot, passes to foot, rather than the adventurous long balls over the top and so on. So they're getting a bit more joy from it, hence corner kick. Number 1 on 20 minutes here. Ball floated up towards the edge of the box here. It's like a trading ground move for some reason. St. George coming forward. Collins down this right-hand side. Ball played brilliantly inside. Chance for goal number 1. The shot comes in. Brilliantly scored. Whoa! 20 minutes in. And St. George have reaped the rewards of the long pass down the left first of all, the first time ball across the 18-yard box, and the one-time shot put into the back of the nets on 20 minutes in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 Finals. St. George Secondary 1, St. Leonard's School 0. Goal 1, Kwame, on 20 minutes.
And the brilliance of that goal, besides the finish, was the ball from Kareem Wade. Had he held that ball a split second later, Shamari Greenwich Lewis would have been in an offside position. So he had the awareness to play the ball one time, and that was excellent finish. It was an excellent finish from Shamari Greenwich Lewis, the number 16, who just got back in his own half to defend a square that came in, and then in the other possession, he scores. But what I wanted to highlight to you as well, Trevor, from the corner, every single player from St. George was back. The furthest forward was at the top of the arc outside the 18-yard box. So I don't know if it's a clear instruction from Coach Kevin Bishop to defend these set pieces in that manner to try to get into halftime without conceding. But in this case, they've taken the lead, so it's going to be interesting to see how St. Leonard's response.
Superb finish in the end, though. Me as a former striker too, I would have been second-guessing myself just a little bit as well. Should I touch it one more time and then finish? But the move was so brilliantly executed. It'd be a pity for a striker to see that ball coming across the box the way he did and not say, put faith in that boot to finish it one time. And that sometimes is the downfall of many strikers that I see playing most recently. They need 2, 3, 4 touches inside the 18-yard box to put the shot on target. Why?
Because we always coach for power, you know, instead of placement. And you know, as a striker back in your day, scored a lot of goals. You don't necessarily always have to get the purest of connection, because once you give the goalkeeper a chance to set, he has a better chance of saving it. But if you hit it one time, he has less of an opportunity to make his mind where the ball is going, and then he's in a less of a better position to curtail the strike from the attacker.
Yeah, totally in agreement with you there. As you said, tactic that, as you said, more coaches could drill into the heads of some of the young strikers that we have here, that the one-time shot doesn't allow the goalkeeper to settle and double check where he is inside of his 6-yard box. So by the time he goes to check, the shot is already on its way. No time to readjust your footing. And of course, if you put it on target correctly, it will score almost every single time. So nice little lesson.
Even at near post, because that's another conversation that I hear a lot of football pundits and purists arguing that a keeper should never get beaten at near post. But if there's enough power and placement on the shot, anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree with you there, totally.
And that strike came in low and hard. As you mentioned, the playing field surface might be a little slippery, so having hit the ball on the turf, it would have skid too.
Yeah, definitely so. So after a reasonable start here, you know, the fans, the numbers have grown again though, Kwame. You can see now perhaps almost two of the bleachers are full, basically close to full, and the one on the far right-hand side filling up nicely as well. So schoolboys football alive and well here at the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy. And of course that augurs well for Barbados' football as well, to get these youngsters constantly up onto this type of a surface in their domestic season as well. Maybe that could be an opportunity for them to up their game even further as they get called towards the youth national teams and so on as well. So into the minute number 25 we go. St. Leonard's asked to reply. Can they? Only time will tell. But they do have the possession of the ball on that left-hand side, this time with Wade. I beg your pardon, with Nightingale wearing number 11. Wade is the number 11 for the St. George team, of course, as well. So throwing, this time around, St. George Secondary has the possession on the right-hand side. Referee Scanterbury wants it back 10 yards. Doing a good job this evening, Scanterbury. Down the line, St. George again in possession. And chance for a square. The defensive posture is good. St. George looking to float it back inside. And that's an easy take, easy as you like, for Jonathan Payne, goalkeeper for St. Leonard's Boys. Remember, it is St. Leonard's Boys in the red this evening. And it's St. George Secondary who just scored their first goal in the blue jerseys through Jamari Greenage-Lewis on 20 minutes.
So it's looking like a true 4-2-1 formation for St. Leonard's. And it also looks like Messiah has switched positions. He's gone more to the left than through the middle. But it hasn't resulted in him getting more possession of the ball.
Collins, he's nippy and he's fouled in the process too. I'm liking this guy Collins. Reason why, he's two-footed, and his low center of gravity gives him the ability to shift left or right any point in time. And of course, looking at his muscle structure, he's built for football. He can look as though he could take a tackle, can give one, and can right tackles. Even if he's fouled, can continue to go through and score chances rather than winning for a free kick as well. So Collins, I'm rating him pretty highly in my books here, and I can see that he's doing a really good job. Shot comes in there, doing a really good job for his local team as well, as he switched from Cave Hill and gone to Paradise. And Paradise, immediately as he's injected into the team, started to climb the table a bit. So Collins, as I said before, keep a good eye on him. And of course, I'm sure of it that senior men's national coach, Kent Hall, and I think he's the interim technical director as well, will be keeping an eye on him as he does on our commentary as well. Because whenever we speak of players, it makes the job a lot easier
For him?
because then he doesn't have to scout it that much.
Okay.
He hears it from Kwame Paris, a known commentator. He hears it from Trevor Thorne as well, and he says, okay, well, if that's worth anything, I can take their word that they're talking about a reasonably good player, and I can call him to the trials and just see what he's got in him before we select him for senior men's national team. So I think all of us can work together to help the Barbados teams become stronger by pinpointing these players, and if they're weak in a certain area, we'll criticize it. And if they're strong in other areas, we'll say that too. And of course, that will help all of Barbados football. Right, Kwame?
Fair enough. So you're saying that you have his number?
This is Ken Hall?
Yeah.
No. That's a private number. Come on now. Those guys are high caliber stuff. I may see him on the odd occasion. But what I can say is that he does suit up from time to time in the Old Boys League Football Invitational Tournament, which I'm an administrator of. So at some points in time, I do have his ear, even if it is commentating on a Saturday or a Sunday evening when we're having a fabulous time. But there's points in time he's approachable. We can have a discussion, and then he can take it from there because he's the man in charge. But of course, I think our job here is not just to commentate as we do, but we can pinpoint strengths and weaknesses which can help the selectors to even do a much better job in finding the diamonds in the rough, as we're doing right now this evening as well.
I think St. Leonard's would have breathed a sigh of relief there as Dan Ali was caught napping. It was a brief 2-against-2 moment, but the pass was a bit too heavy and it changed the angle. But I think as we approach the end of the first half, we're going to be more looking to see how St. George manages this lead. Are they going to go in search of a second? Are they going to try to slow the tempo of the game to maintain this lead going into the break? But more certainly, when they've had the chance to transition, it has been quick and decisive, most recently after they have settled into the game.
Yeah, you bang on there, Kwame. We're thinking that the Reds of St. Leonard's settled a little more quickly. But what I'm seeing here is that winning the battles, getting to the ball first, seems to have gone now to the St. George team. They're getting there quicker than St. Leonard's. Although when St. Leonard's have it, they're able to make the possession work for a longer period. So maybe it's a case of fitness, or maybe it's a case of the tactics of the two coaches laying off, so that they don't mind the opposition having the ball for a bit. It's just that when the likes of the St. Leonard's guys get it, they know that they're going to maintain possession for quite some time. St. George will move the ball a lot faster, as they say before, ball all the way into defence. I'm also liking Javon Ali, the number 20, so calm on the ball. Here he is again in possession. Pass is a good one, basically changing the point of attack from left to right. St. George down the right-hand side, but a bit too much on it. Good turn. And St. Leonard's come out on this right-hand side. This is not patient stuff. He floats it, looking for a runner. And they're unsuccessful in maintaining the possession there, as you said, as St. Mary's best puts his right foot through that one rather than caressing it around the corner. It was still on the surface. He would have probably done a better job if he had gone on the surface this time around rather than through the air.
Yeah, and then there's no support. So when he asks the striker to come from a central position, playing between the width of the two uprights,
He needs some time there.
he needs some time to hold up the ball, to allow other midfielders and closer attackers to get involved in the build-up.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a disconnect between the centre backs and the midfield. And you can clearly see, as you can see the back three. But whenever the ball breaks wide, there's no one in a wide position by the touchline in position to create width.
Yeah, can continue the passing game that they're looking to play. Yeah, I agree with you there as well. So that will need a tweak from Fabian Messiah, coach. Ball into the 18-yard box. Keeper has to come strong, and does so brilliantly. Will distribute to the right. St. George coming out with a quick break on that right-hand side, moving swiftly. Again, they play it quickly. Collins is in possession in that near post. Shoots right-footed. That one easing 6 inches past the first post. and rising with a rasping right foot smashing shot there. But that's the danger of the St. George base team. They're breaking so quickly, and there's no hesitation in playing the quickest ball possible there, Kwame, and almost in on goal again there on 32 minutes.
Yeah. I quickly made a note of that miss to see how, if it could play an important role in this game, because with a player his quality, we're looking for him to just slot that.
Hit target though, yeah.
At far post.
Yeah, hit the target. Make sure he hits the target. Make the keeper do some work, even if he don't score. But I think I think there was that initial rush of blood that this needs to be a spectacular goal to send them away. But you don't need that in a final. You need calmness to get your hand on the trophy. And then afterwards, you jump up and down that's the excitement after, you know. But in the game, calmness is what is required to polish off the opposition. And if you have that, like the first goal, calm towards this left-hand side, calm, 25-yard pass the other side, calm again, and finish up for our post brilliantly. So a bit more of that. And as I said, we up here, but they're not hearing us. The coach needs to tell them these kinds of things, and that's the geniusness of a coach. He has to be able to transition or even be telepathic. Understand that the commentators give some kind of pointers and see it for himself then, and transfer that onto the team and get the team into a winning mode. So the best coaches will do that all the time. So will it be Fabian Messiah with the St. Leonard's boys who are trailing, or can Kevin Bishop say more of the same? Find Shamari Greenwich-Lewis, who can finish brilliantly. Find Roger Collins, who's been scoring goals all season long. And they need to remain calm in order to finish this game off. But at this point in time, it's not quite wide open, but the advantage must go to the St. George base, St. George secondary in the blue, who have a 1-0 lead over St. Leonard's Boys after 34 minutes. Collins in on goal again, hesitates to shot, then tries to do it on his second time of asking. Into the 18-yard box he goes, but he's adjudged to have fouled the defender there. I believe that is Johnny Payne on the surface, but he was open for that first time shot there, Kwame, but he decided that he needed a bit more space and room. Now he's lost the composure that he had early, and he gave the advantage basically to the defender then to put out a boot and save it there.
Yeah, he had a better option of a pass to his left or right, but his first touch is immaculate, and the way that ball came at him, and he was able to bring it down with 2 touches. Any footballer should be able to control any ball with at least 2 touches, and he did that under pressure. And also, he's not just playing. You can say he plays a false nine, but he's moving. Yeah, he's moving all the time. Shamari Greenwich-Lewis is moving all the time. So it's almost like how you see Liverpool with the front three, moving out of position, moving in. And they're not attacking on one side of the field either. Right, left, the distribution of the goalkeeper when necessary to throw out, the awareness to throw out when necessary. This team is fully aware. They're not trying. I don't think they're looking at this game as that they're playing against St. Leonard's. They're looking at if we are going to play how we came to play. If all be it that we have to counter, we're going to counter. They're not going to try to play a style that suits what the fans or others are interested in. They're going to play to our strengths. And St. Leonard's is struggling at the moment. I haven't seen them play all tournament to say if they're accustomed to playing this formation or this system, but we are not seeing any pattern of play to suggest that the players seem to be knowledgeable of what they need to do in the circumstance.
Yeah, good stuff. So, nice intriguing game, as I continue to say. The fans are rolling, coming in on a Friday evening, and it could be anywhere else. It shows football, and that's a good sign for Barbados' football as well. Ball into the middle of the midfield as the St. Leonard's lads look to get a shot on target. Ball falls nicely, right foot shot, he's rushed it. And he needed to just take his time there as Terrell Nightingale gets on the ball. A couple of low 1-2s there, and eventually the ball fell nicely for him. But he didn't settle himself to take the full advantage with a right foot shot. And in the end, it was easy as you like for goalkeeper Terrell Prescott to pick up and distribute. St. George with a free kick on this left-hand side to be put back into play by Kareem Wade, the left-footed number 11. This little afro he has growing there as well, Kwame. The afros are back. He's giving up the possession, however. But cool, calm control of the ball there from Aline into Collins. It's 50-50. Loses possession, and then the clearance is made. Retrieving would be Wade, but he doesn't need to go after it. He can buy some time here. The ball over the touchline on 38 minutes. And it certainly looks as though at this point that the St. George lads are happy with what they have. And back in numbers supporting one another as well, just in case the St. Leonards can go on a bit of a breakaway run. And they're holding their formation pretty nicely, according to what the formation that Kwame was speaking about. And so far, the St. Leonards boys haven't been able to breach it in any real meaningful way after 38 minutes. Current score then, St. Leonards School 1, St. George Secondary School 1, St. Leonards boys 0 at this point in time.
So a free kick. Johnny Payne once again, the left-footed defender.
Decent ball inside there, Kwame. It is. He punches, he doesn't get there in time. Under the kosh a bit, ball at near post. Shouts for handball as Wade gets back and uses some part of the body to block it. And as far as referees Canterbury is concerned, it's a legal part of the body. But from our distance here, we really can't tell. And Canterbury is much closer than we are. And we'll have to take his word for it, that it's a corner kick rather than a penalty kick, which St. Leonards were calling for. Quick chop, floated far side, and near post. In fact, that far post, sliding across and making the connection is Nightingale. Terrell Nightingale, but it goes over the crossbar rather than into the back of the nets. St. George fans breathing a sigh of relief. A player is down injured as well, but this current score remains St. George Secondary 1, St. Leonards boys 0.
Well, Trev, he had his foot higher than his head, and it wasn't a bicycle kick.
Should have used his head, you reckon, you know? Yeah.
Use his head.
Use your head, not in this.
No pun
intended. Two ways, as you said. Think about it and realize it's. And truth is, as a former striker too, I always used to realize the ball that lands between the eyes is easier to score than to try to get any other part of the body on it, because simply the focus of your body, your eyes allow you to see clearly where the ball is. So you put that ball right on the forehead, right between. It's just a matter of then just executing the redirect into the net. And in this case, he chose the wrong technique at the time, and it got exactly what he deserved there. Yeah.
I think that was a move also from the training ground, the short corner, then the cut back inside.
Yeah. Brilliantly executed eventually too, huh?
Yeah.
So they're getting closer and closer, but still no cigar on a Friday night here for the St. Leonards lads. But as you can see that although St. George are holding really nicely, that they can be breached with what we consider to be conventional plays. Creativity is involved as well, because as you said, training ground stuff really cut back. But of course, they're young lads and they're learning, both of them learning, but St. Leonards know how to unlock the defence here of St. George, you can tell that for sure. So second half, I'd say hold on to your seats. Could be very interesting between these two teams in the under-19 finals of the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League. This one between St. Leonard's School, who are trailing St. George Secondary, who have scored the one goal, Shamari Greenidge-Lewis, on 20 minutes. But here comes St. George again to the inside right channel. Ball taken away. Ball falls kindly again, this time around for Clark to create something. Spreads it wide. Offside is the call on 42 minutes. But good movement for St. George again, especially again, Kwame, on the fast break, which is where they're getting the joy here at the BFA Technical Centre.
So I guess much needed team talk at halftime from Coach Traven said 40 minutes of football is a long time. I mean, Jesus had 40 days in the wilderness. But these guys have a lot of time to come back into this game.
Yes, so referee Darian Canterbury puts the whistle to his mouth and blows it 3 times for a half-time here. Classified half-time score. The Blues of St. George Secondary 1, St. Leonard's Boys in the red 0. Half-time here at the BFA Technical Centre in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final. We'll be back in the second half after this commercial break.
Remember we when we gone, we live forever. Start spread, we not coming under. Get to you, get your money under. Ready, break back in our way. Straight back in our now, let's go run there. Take it, cheddar, come in the car, any weather. I take it, cheddar, we go back with the leather. Take it, cheddar, come in the car, any weather. Take it, cheddar, we go back with the leather. Me feet have a chopper, watch it up on leather. Me don't speak up, and if you're not a leather. Daddy says so, never tell we said no better. No they but I like that, blessing of forever. Mommy says something, no better than the other. Me never miss somebody, never matter. Some you miss and they come to them and feel as a shatter. Badness, and no matter how you get the we not going under. I'll get on you, get your money under. Ready, break back in our way. Straight back in our now, let's go run there. Take it, cheddar, come in the car, any weather. Take it, cheddar, we go back with the leather.
At this point, we want to have Mr. Corey Beanie Barrow over to the presentation area. Also invite members of the Lodge School team, the Griffins, to make their way over as well for medal presentations at this point in time. This is what the players have been looking forward to since the start of the under-16 season. It all culminates tonight with the glittering prizes shining under the Friday night lights at the BFA Technical Center. Standing by with our president, our sponsor, Mr. Clifford Edgel, our vice president, Mr. Stefan King, executive member Kareem Worrell, Tricia Ford, we're going to do the runners-up presentations. President of the Barbados Secondary School Football League, Mr. Ren Ramsey, being led out by Ms. Tricia Ford, the Assistant Secretary, the Vice President, Mr. Stefan King, and Mr. Clifford Edgel. We really want to give a large round of applause to our sponsors, Mr. Clifford Edgel of the Sunny Powerade, as well as Trophy World, and the BFA Technical Center as well. We're going to have the MVP of the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League under 16 tournament. The MVP hailing from the Combermere School, the man they call R9, Mr. Amari Small. I personally think he scored the goal of the season versus Queen's College. A worlder of a goal. Very, very talented forward. He receives his prize, the MVP, from the Vice President, Mr. Stefan King. Well done, R9. Best goalkeeper of the tournament. And Combermere is making a clean sweep of the most valuable players in the Under 16 League as the goalkeeper of the season. Hailing from the Combermere Schools, Jamari Watson. Walks out with a smile and a nod. Well deserved best goalkeeper for the season. Receiving his prize as well from Mr. Stefan King, the Vice President. Now we're going to do the runners-up medals. Goalkeeper, Mr. Joseph Gradison. Don't worry, Joseph, we got you. Aries Payne. Very diminutive player. Kevio Bellamy. It's never easy to receive runners-up medals, but the Lodge School has nothing to be ashamed of. Taraji Chase. Caden Boyce. Quinton Lowe. Still proudly wearing his jersey, Ryoko Murray. Kodari Simpson. I remember him, the centre half, number 13. Anari Pollard, the number 6. Shaquem Boyce. That's the runners-up medals for the Lodge School. And stepping forward is their coach, Mr. Corey Beanie Man Barrow, who's done tremendous work with the Griffins. He certainly deserves that round of applause from the fans, the players, as well as from the exec. The runners-up trophy. Please give them a round of applause. The Lodge School, the Griffins, making the finals. Unfortunately, coming off second best. Congratulations to the Lodge School. Now for medal presentations for the winning school, the Combermere School, being presented by our sponsor, Mr. Sifford Killigedgel, who also just fired me as head coach of the foundation school. It's official, I am now looking for a new job. Xavier Thorne, Andre Johnson. One of the goal scorers, Israel Watson. William Christie. Zakar Ashby. Shavir Codrington. Mr. Nathan Cummings. Jalen Williams, number 33, the vice captain, the puppet master, the midfield maestro, the number 8, the Iniesta, the man himself, yo. The big striker himself, Mr. Obate Seeley. We call him Oba. Hat trick in the finals. He's been impressive all season. That's Jayon Williams, Aaron Waterman, Tremere Willett, Marco McDonald, Xavion Clark, Keone Harris, Jose Phillips, LaShawn Small, Najee Baby Giant Ali, Amari R9 Small. We call you Baby Giant. Jamari Jamari Watson, the captain, Rosario Roach, aka Raz, inviting the coach of the Comamere School. He had to change clothes. Welcome, Mr. Marlon Hart. We want to acknowledge the principal as well, Mr. Robin Douglas. The Lord School still missing Mr. Douglas. A big round of applause for the under-16 Barbados Secondary School football champions. And the referees are just about ready for the restart of the under-19 knockouts. Remember, St. George Secondary leads 1-0. St. Leonard's boys having it all to do in the second half of the under-19 knockout finals.
Baby, you got Swear by me like some knowledge and that time, yeah. After me, breaking in my curse, me and you put my name in on your chest.
Welcome back to live action in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 Cup Final. Here at the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy St. Michael, Barbados in the West Indies. Yours truly, Trevor Thorne from Commentator Sports Incorporated, CSI. And Kwame Paris right next to me, my partner, who will colour the game for us here. 41 minutes in, we just started the second half. This is two 40-minute halves, an 80-minute final in the Under-19s, Kwame. And so far, we're just about a minute gone. Game starting the same way it ended, basically, with St. George first to the ball and able to make their way down one of the wings, create the first corner kick of the second half. Far-sided corner, looks like a training wrong move again. They go back to the left-hand side. This is the St. George lads.
As I suspected, he came from an offside position.
Yeah. So as you said, they need to be a little bit more alert in how they're switching the ball left and right. But that looked like a good ploy to distract the St. Leonard's guys who are in red this evening from thinking they're going to attack down the right-hand side to switch it back over to the left-hand side where they're getting a good bit of joy as well. But so far, so good for St. Leonard's as they come forward now into the middle of the midfield. That foot shot was on there, but of course, failing to pull the trigger will give you nothing in a game. 42 minutes gone, but that extra pass wasn't really necessary there, Kwame. You could have took the shot.
Could have taken a shot, and then if he was going to make that pass, you had to not put so much colour on it, so much mustard on it. It was too heavy a touch. But no changes at the half in terms of personnel, but I've seen St. Leonard's push some more players forward in that front line. They're still playing with three at the back, but on attack, they haven't been pressured as such, and they haven't tried to go alone. They're trying to play the ball more to foot. Let's see what Messiah does here.
He has the wiggling room there to go right, knowing that he's not going to go left-hand side, and then knew that he wanted the shot on the right side. He pushed it out from under his feet there, but failed to keep his head over the ball to drive it towards goal. The only other thing I would say about that was that it was 40-odd yards out. It had to be in a spectacular one, which he intended it to be, but of course the direction of it and the placement was off target. But I can see good things coming from Rivaldo Messiah there, the Premier League UWI Blackbird striker, playing for St. Leonard's, of course, as well, wearing the 10, and coming close, but not close enough after 44 minutes here at the BFA Technical Centre. Will the defensive header coming in there from Raleigh Goodman, playing at wing back for St. George. Seems to have injured himself in the process, but he's able to shake it off and get back into his right-sided defensive posture here and pay special attention to Iragan Brajman Seal, wearing the number 7. He's gone back to mark him, but the throwing taken quickly here on this left-hand side for the St. Leonard's players into the middle of the midfield. Quick feet there. Goodman with the shot. The shot palmed away with some goalkeeping work there from Prescott, pushes it around the corner and gives away the first corner kick in the second half for the St. Leonard's lads as they press looking for an equaliser here at the BFA turf. Will the current score, St. George Secondary 1, St. Leonard's boys 0. Ball played quickly, good turn. In towards the 6-yard box here, chance at near post, second bite at the cherry, maybe even a third. They can't get it away. Far post ball, attacking header. And there's some good goalkeeping in the end. Jarrell Prescott kept his eyes on the ball, full concentration all the way. It went left, it went right, and it went into the air. Prescott to the rescue on 45 minutes.
Another sharp corner. You saw Messiah again cut and went towards the byline and put the crossing along the ground this time, which made it difficult. But ever alert was Prescott, and that strong right hand pushed the ball away from the closest attacker, and his defense bailed him out. But this is good game management here. I'm not suggesting that the captain Javon Ali is not hurt.
Yeah.
But after that frantic rush to get the ball clear and emotions flaring and trying to settle, the best way to do is to go down. And you can't restart the game with multiple players on the ground.
Go down, stay down.
Stay down.
Brilliant. So as you said, whether that was coached or not, and I hope it was kind of coached, because you need this type of tactic as the game gets more, as you get more technical, as you go higher. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break, that you can get some instructions on the field. And one of the ways to do it is to conjure up a way of an injury occurring, and then coach comes on or sends an instruction out through your medic, and you're able to weather the storm then and calm it down again to maintain what you have as a 1-goal stem lead here as well. But hopefully he's okay. Obviously there were many bodies in the 6-yard box and the 18-yard box, so anything could have occurred there. So, but all's well that ends well. He's up and moving again very quickly after receiving what looked like water rather than the cold spray and so on. So, I mean, not sure what the injury was, but the H2O seemed to have done the job on this occasion on 47 minutes. And St. Leonard's continue to trail here with St. George 1, St. Leonard's 0.
Yeah, as you quickly noted, you mentioned his leadership ability. That's a goal kick.
Yeah.
As you quickly noted his leadership ability from the first half, in terms of how he was marshalling the defense and the line. And he just seemed so composed in everything that he was doing. So for him to do that in that moment, he's re-entered the game. So now we have 11 versus 11 again. And see, he would have noticed from the opening minutes of this second half that quite noticeably St. Leonard's have started the sharper of the two. They've been quicker to the ball. The movement on the ball to dribble the ball into space and look for that extra man is more present than they did in the first half. They're using the ball a lot better. And they're coming in search of that equalizer.
So that was Wade winning possession and then having his way on that right-hand side. But they've lost possession. Here comes the St. George team now, middle of the midfield. Good turn of feet there, and it's fouled in the process as he went for the return pass. Kumar Clark there, a couple of dribbles, and then a nutmeg as well. Wins the St. George team a free kick on 49 minutes. And 50 yards out. I don't think they'll be the spectacular from here, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps play it a little bit shorter and perhaps draw the St. Leonard's team out a bit. But he's certainly lining it up as if he wants to strike it from here, from 45 yards. Right foot shot coming in. And it's, as I said before, didn't have the pace to really trouble the St. Leonard's defence. Ball comes out decently for St. Leonard's to put together a couple of passes here on the the right-hand side. That would be. That's a decent ball. Yes, we almost parallel to that particular pass, and you could see that as Aragon Bridgman Seal sprinted forward, he did take a step before the ball was played, and therefore, yes, the whole body was offside when the pass was made. So 50 minutes in, and St. Leonard's looking able to perhaps even get an equaliser here. But St. George holding on really nicely here to the 1-0 lead after 50 minutes. So trying to steal a few yards would be Raleigh Goodman, the number 3, sent back by referee Canterbury, and deservingly so. Into the midfield as Grecia, spreading it wide, down the line. Quick little turn of feet from Nightingale, still in possession. Cuts inside again, this time finding it Grecia again. Tries to play the low 1-2, but that's misguided pass. And St. George can't come out, even though they do have the men to do it. Kamar Clark, they're looking to pull it out of the night sky, but he miscontrols it, and it'll be a throw-in to the Reds of St. Leonard's School. 1-2 played, again, that's a misguided pass. Marshall up the line to Roger Collins, a quick turn as he receives his own pass, spreads it wide. St. Leonard's on a decent run. And then St. George on a decent run, that would be, and St. Leonard's weather the storm. Ball all the way back to the goalkeeper. Side from Nightingale, ball spread to this left-hand side. Decent ball inside, keeper comes, can he get there in time? Yes, he can. And breathing down his neck would have been Messiah there, Rivaldo Messiah, looking to put that one away. But keeper Prescott, weary, and came out quite early to avert the danger. Now the ball probably through the space. And again, good tackle, solid tackle in the end from Javon Allen. And the boot was left him a bit late there on Allen, the defender. And he's down injured on 52 minutes. But Allen really is the difference here between the St. Leonard's guys getting the equaliser here. He's there, he's everywhere. And if he continues to play this way, I'm not seeing the opening, Kwame, how the St. Leonard's guys will get in, because he certainly puts his body on the line for the team, as you can see here this evening.
Wade has been solid too, the number 11 in the back line.
Yeah, certainly Wade, 11, has been in the wars a bit and has been on the ball quite often here for the St. George-based team. Playing at left back, we make it Wade. But you can't really stop mentioning Javon Allen, as I said before. Excellent at reading the play. And we'll try to read again. Ball over his head this time. In on goal. And good defensive work there. Puts the ball over the touchline as the St. Leonard's guys come charging forward. With the plate short? No, they're more interested in the ball into the 6-yard box, it looks like from here. And stepping forward to claim this one. We'll put it on the spot. Quick take. Messiah with the ball towards the near post. And he's put a bit too much on it. He's wrapped his foot around it a bit too much, and it's hit the side netting rather than in towards the 6-yard box. As you can see, Coach Fabian Messiah saying, wrap your foot around and let it come around towards the back post rather than the near, which gives a striker a chance to get onto it rather than having to readjust to get to the near post to flick it on. He'd be at far post to finish in a merely 1-2 situation. So good coaching there, and they'll need to take that on board if they're going to get back into it this evening. The St. Leonard's team playing in red as well. 54 on all clocks. Remember, we got 240s, that's 80 minutes. So plenty of time to get something out of the game for the St. Leonard's schoolboys. But St. George continue to hold the advantage here at the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy, St. Michael. That's a shoulder barge, which was illegal in the end. And St. George will give up the free kick, taken quickly inside as St. Leonard's come charging forward. Xavier Marshall spreading it wide this time to Scanterbury, and then down the line to Best. Inside again, the little 1-2. Grecia, quick turn, releases it down the right-hand side, across the 6-yard box, right foot shot. Whoa! That is a finish out of the top draw for sure. Excellent finish there, Kwame. On 55 minutes, St. Leonard's Schoolboys are back at St. Leonard's School 1, St. George Secondary 1.
You can see it coming from the point of view, as we mentioned earlier, that they've gotten more players forward in that front line. And defensively, they haven't really been closing down the player on the ball that quickly. As you mentioned, Aline mostly been aware, but in that scenario, the cross came in slightly behind the number 7, which presented a half volley opportunity there for the attacker who rifled it into the top.
That's Rivaldo Masaya. He plays his football in the Premier League for the Prime Minister's Cup champions in the UWA, University of West Indies Blackbirds, and he's brought that form to bear on this final as well. Chance at near post, flicked it around the corner. Oh, but he can't finish it. The Andrea Mitchell, good left foot turn there. And as the goal presented itself, he was able to put it on target, but some good defensive work then as well from St. George as we remain 1 goal apiece. St. Leonard's 1, St. George Secondary 1 after 56 minutes here at the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy. Decent ball played forward, looking for Collins to get onto it. Haven't spoken his name most recently. He's on the ball now, robbed of the possession with a solid tackle. Here comes St. Leonard's again. 1-2 played. It's brilliant. Down that right-hand side. Can we get the skill level being raised? No, we can't. Attacking-wise, but defensively, St. George come out. Beautiful floated ball over to this right-hand side. Control is good towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Shoots! And the shot doesn't have the power to beat him today, tomorrow, next week. Kamara Clark with the right foot shot, but no real pace on it, Kwame. And we're tied 1 each on 57 minutes. Here again, St. George tested. And again, solid tackle. Not once, but twice. This guy is brilliant. Javon Allen, the number 20. Yeah. I'm sure the scouts are looking. He looks the part to make the next step, whatever that might be. Whether it be drafted in towards the Premier League of Barbados or even further afield, the colleges maybe, or the academies, or some professional setup here. He can do it all here. He looks really good here. 58 minutes in, and referee Scanterbury sees a foul on the far side and calls it as he sees it. But at present, in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League knockout final, the under-19 final that would be, with Kwame Paris and yours truly, Trevor Thorne, it's St. Leonard's School 1, St. George Secondary 1.
But more noticeably, the crowd has become more vocal and mainly in support of St. Leonard's. But since St. Leonard's has had more possession in the second half, you can see that St. George has started to move away from what they were doing all along in terms of using the width of the pitch and the counter coming on either side. No, they've gotten themselves trapped into this playing through the middle, which is not their strength. They're not utilizing the ball as best as as best as they can, and they have been on previous occasions. Notably the first half. Yeah. Play with more conviction. Now they're playing like a team who's trying to go against the run of play.
Tackle there, Scanterbury. He pauses, he thinks about it, and he says, listen, is this going to be my first caution for the evening? And he definitely says, yes, it is.
first booking of the game, but they're getting trapped and pulled into this back and forth game. I mean, St. Leonard is still playing very open. And there are a lot of holes in midfield when St. George win the ball, but the distribution then from there in the transition to other play through the middle or left or right, that's where they're struggling. Collins hasn't been as present as before. And I think they just need to hold the ball a little longer and play with more composure, because this game is either teams won at the moment. Open football, St. Leonard seems to be in search of a second, but I think they can find themselves in trouble with St. George, who's been playing well on the counter, if they can continue to do so and just get one of these attacks in the back of the net. But remember, in the first half, we noted the miss from Roger Collins in 32nd minute.
That's exactly,
how important.
That's a brilliant point that you made there. As you said there, Kwame, that the more chances you put away, obviously, the more pressure you put on the other team, and the more chance you have of holding on to the lead longer.
Yeah.
Because then you not just you have to score one, you got to score two to catch them and so on. But a good point today, as you said.
And not only the numbers, in addition, you have that feeling that St. Leonard wasn't going to play two bad halves of football with the caliber of players they have in their team, having played at this level for such a long time, and also with the pedigree of the team itself, having done well at this level of school football for such a long time. That counts for something as well. Psychologically, even going into the half with the lead, you're still gonna be thinking that this team is gonna come at me, and you can find yourself playing that game of playing too safe and not playing to your strategy as well. Yeah. But that's when you need your leaders on the field, not just the coaches.
Yeah.
There's a change being made here.
6, yeah, St. George.
So St. George has made the change.
Okay.
It seems. Jaden Alleyne's ball goes out of touch for a goal kick. So Jaden Alleyne in, the number 17. And out is the goal scorer, Shamari Greenidge-Lewis.
On 62 minutes then. Substitution for the St. George secondary there.
Do they have the right?
So obviously a tweak in the formation, or at least changing for personnel, which I think Kevin Bishop, the coach, is seeing. So let's see how that pans out.
It's 6. Keyshawn Greenidge, sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
16 is still in. I found that to be strange.
Yeah.
Looking at the assistant, the fourth officials
board. Yeah, 6. 6
incorrectly.
for 17.
6 for 17.
Okay, yeah, so Keyshawn Greenidge making way on 62 minutes for Jaden Alleyne, the number 17 for the men in blue from St. George Secondary. And St. George having, if I'm not mistaken, two pavilions with the name Gregory Lalo Goodrich on them. And that's for his exploits in becoming a top professional in UK football as well. That shot is decent. Stepping across to his right-hand side would have been Jonathan Payne, the keeper, palming it away and then taking it on his second time of asking, as St. George back in numbers. And a little bit of a swipe clearance this time from Kareem Wade, playing at left back for St. George, as St. Leonard's now starting to come forward in waves and really play to their full potential. Basically, as far as what we were seeing from the very beginning, they were always able to maintain possession, come forward in numbers, and be patient about their passing. And they're now showing the true caliber of a Fabian Messiah coach team. Defensive header required. Can't get his head on it, but he fouls Roger Collins in the process. He also kicks the ball away as well.
Quite lucky there.
Yeah, he's lucky that referee Canterbury is fairly lenient there. He doesn't want to pull those yellow cards, those cautions too early, but the player will need to learn that at a higher level, that's such an easy card to get that your team doesn't really want, basically, if you're playing, especially when you're playing so well at this point. You need to switch that football brain on And silly things, just get away from doing those silly things. Here comes the St. Leonard's lads now, they call him the running man, as he constantly is spreading the play around as far as St. Leonard's is concerned. Continues to get the ball on his left foot and create havoc for the St. George-based team. In possession again here now, all the way back to the defense. The square comes in. It's decent. Far post ball, and Messiah almost getting his second of the evening as he shrugs off the defensive tactics this time of Javon Allen. They went 50-50 there, but there was, in all honesty, it looked like a little bit of a upper body, maybe an arm somewhere around, floating around, which caused Allen to tumble a little bit, giving the space to the attacker, and the referee saw it, that the attacker there had fouled the defender in the process. Here's Roger Collins now. Will need a little bit of time to hesitate. The shot comes in. Side netting. The net shook. Thought that was in, but definitely side netting. And again, the tactics are playing out here quite nicely. St. Leonard's with possession to come up towards the 18-yard box of St. George, but St. George, when they get it, break quickly and look to punish the guys from Richmond in St. Michael.
I don't know if Collins has a skill in his pocket. I mean, the weight of that pass was perfect. But the shot was just off target. I wonder if Payne was so composed, he didn't dive, he didn't move. He just was so nonchalant about it. Like,
probably knew exactly, as it was hit, he knew where it was going.
Yeah, he had his post covered.
So he didn't go, and he said he was kind of like positioned very close to the near post. So as I said, his reaction was probably right for that moment. But the shot looked as though from our angle, that was going to make its way in, because although he prodded it, it came with real pace still. Some technique that he had there to really get it go, although it looked like almost like a pass into the net. So brilliant stuff there from him. Keeper comes, can't get there in time. He fouled in the process. No, he collides with a player there. And I thought he took quite some time to come off his line there, and in the end he was left wanting, but was lucky in the end that the ball ricocheted and went out for what looks like a goal kick here, rather than finding its way into the back of the net. So I think if St. Leonard's are going to get a go-ahead goal here and don't leak one, then Jonathan Payne, the keeper, is going to need to switch on and realise that we're in a final, and any mistakes he makes here, he'll be settling for second place rather than first.
I think too, we have to watch this high line that St. George is playing defensively. I've noticed it mostly in the second half, and most of St. Leonard's threatening plays have come from one simple ball over the top and the pace of Messiah in and behind the defense, causing problems for the defense. I think that they have to be more mindful of that. But that mainly started, as I said, when St. Leonard's got more into the game and the crowd got into the game, and that could put you off, mentally when you have control of the game. All of a sudden there's that pendulum swing, and the crowd now has, because the crowd becomes the 12th man.
Yep.
And the pressure then becomes the bane of your existence.
So into minute 68. Again, St. Leonard's tested, but equal to the task as Payne picks it up, the keeper, and distributes towards the half line. No foul there. The flick over the top. St. George will defend strongly there and come out on the left-hand side. Decent ball inside, put it forward. Chance for left foot shot. Changes his mind. This is Collins. Looking to show a clean pair of heels to these two defenders. He sets it for a shot. Controls. The shot comes in. But this tame, harmless as a fly, as he seemed to get under it there rather than put his foot through it. And as you know, that will make its way over the crossbar quite easily without any troubles for the keeper. But a chance being created almost out of nothing for St. George, but didn't really take full advantage of it there, Kwame.
And Chase has had a couple of opportunities from that same range, and he's tried to use the same technique. I wonder if he's trying to hit a knuckleball. These youngsters are always trying different things, but as you said, there wasn't that purity in the connection from a technical standpoint.
Again, their battle here for a winner. We're tied 1 each. Cutting through the space. No advantage there whatsoever. Here's Bridgman Seal. He too loses possession. St. George coming forward. This time with Collins, who's left his central position to spray out wide on the left-hand side, basically. So a little switching formation, because at one stage, Roger Collins was playing right up top. Although he wearing the number 10, he was playing right on the top as a point striker, basically. A centre striker in the old-time days of saying it. But he's now switched slightly to the left from time to time to perhaps give himself a bit more space and for allow someone else to slide into the central position to score a goal that he would have normally popped up and scored. So nothing wrong with that tactic. But if he's going to change the tactic, he must remember that how they got their goal in the first place was from him coming through the middle anyway. So I don't think he needs to move too far away from that tactic, even though he's trying one or two other things. The defense of St. Leonard's is still being unlocked with the way in which he plays. So why change it when you can get another goal basically out of it? But free kick here now to the St. Leonard's guys. This one taken by Grecia in towards the 6-yard box. The ball floated across the top from Rivaldo Messiah, and then a fumble from Gerald Prescott puts it over the goal line outside the near post, and the corner kick is given up. Rather cheap corner kick, Kwame, on 71 minutes as the two teams battle here at the BFA Technical Centre. St. Leonard's School 1, St. George Secondary 1 as well. Another ball floated in, and another corner kick to the men in red from St. Leonard's.
And it's the sharp corner again. Ball into the foot of Messiah. He delayed. He went past one. There was a little tug of the jersey there, but he went on and the cross ricocheted off the defender. But as simple as it looks, they haven't been able to find a way
to capitalize
or to defend that sharp corner.
Okay. Floats far side. A bit of a ricochet, comes back to the corner taker, and he knows he had a little bit more time to place that ball on a platter. Nightingale did. He failed in his attempt, and the St. Leonard's lads will come out with a couple of decent passes down this left-hand side. Being robbed of it and won it back again. And come up clean on this left again into the midfield as the St. Leonard's lads put together a couple of passes. Grecia over to the right-hand side, this time finding Michael Howard, the number 9. Howard almost back in possession. The ball prodded forward with a toe-put pass rather than, like I said, decidedly footed is more accurate, basically, and the chance has gone a begging on 73 minutes. St. George coming out of the defence, but they've given up possession, and the throw-in will be taken on the far side on 73 minutes with the current score in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final. St. Leonard's Boys 1, St. George Secondary 1.
So we're really into the final stretch of the second half. The score is even. So Trevor, you believe that next goal wins the game? Should it come before the 80th minute?
Yeah, looking that way, both teams still quite even. So, whoever scores first, I believe the other team might be able to hold on to it. Pushed it a bit too far, but the keeper comes and saves the day. Put it back into an attacking posture, cleared by that man again in Javon Aline. Trying to turn defence into attack. Ball down the right. Players coming together again. Even Stevens. St. George looking to utilise the left-hand side of the field but the ball cut out at the back by Payne into Nightingale. He's also tackled strongly, and the free kick will be taken for a restart. 74 in, and we're tied. St. Leonard's 1, St. George Secondary 1.
I think it's interesting though that we haven't seen many changes in this second half. Just the one change from
For St. George. Yeah. St. Leonard's still playing the patient game of working with what they have a starting 11. I've seen a man here shaking as though he's about to shake the muscles to warm up, but still no real movement on the bench for Coach Fabian Messiah. But St. George continue to, as you said, they've run one change and still don't see the need to do anything else at this point in time. So the honesty is they're not seeing many tired legs as yet. But as you said, with just about 6 or so to go, somebody got to go for the jugular here now, or I understand there will be extra time and then penalties. So I'm not sure if there's a ploy here to take it to that for one or the other team. But me, I like to have it done and dusted within regulation time. Not to say that in my day that I wouldn't have practiced my penalties for sure, because I'm not known to miss very many of them, because from 12 yards you really shouldn't be missing really. But as you said, when the nerves start to jangle from 12 yards, some players will not use the right technique and then find themselves in problems by losing a match. So I'm not sure if any of the two of these thinking that penalties is the way to go. But let's see how it plays out for the last 5 or so, while the men in red from St. Leonard's have the ball. They do have it again. They've managed to retain or regain the possession, only to lose it again and then to win it back this time around. It is Bridgman Seal. Shot coming in this time from Gracia, but that's charged down as well. And again, we're seeing the almost tiki-taka stuff coming from St. Leonard's. Ball into the night sky and taken very cleanly by Gerald Prescott. Hasn't let not much slip this evening for the men in blue from St. George Secondary. And cross this one up the road for Collins to backheel onward. And defender will do well to watch this one all the way over the touchline or goal line for a goal kick. 77 on our clocks, not much more left in it before we hear the final whistle, and then we will be going to extra time here in the under-19 knockout final. At present, St. Leonard's with a 1-1 tie up against St. George Secondary.
But I'm reflecting here and I'm asking myself, if does St. George feel more comfortable with St. Leonard's having possession of the ball? Because for the entirety of the game, I can't remember Prescott going long from the goal kick in that manner. Especially because Goodman re-entered the game, which gave you the full complement of 11 versus 11 again. He wasn't under any pressure at right back. Just roll the ball to him. You've been playing and utilizing the width all the time. There's acres of space on the width, on the flanks. There's any pressure. I think St. George has created too much pressure for themselves in the second half, and I think is the psychological effect of knowing your opponent is going to play better in the second half, more than them being incapable of shutting out St. Leonard's.
Yeah, good point there, for sure. So let's see how the next 2 or so minutes pans out, because if there's no change in the score, they go to extra time. I believe it is two 10-minute extra time periods, and if there's still no score, it will be the dreaded penalty shootout from 12 yards either left or right of us to decide the winner in the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League on the 19 Knockout Cup here at the BFA Technical Centre. Wildy, free kick, in fact that's a player down on the surface for St. George.
It looks like Wade, and as the game goes on and gets closer to the final whistle, we've seen some more stoppages, this time for injuries and probably cramp and fatigue setting in. But I think both teams right now would love a winner. Would love a winner. I don't think they want that extra 20 minutes for open play.
All right. Again, we want to say a special thank you to the spectators that's come out this evening to support the development of football in Barbados. I'm sure I speak on behalf of the Barbados Football Association as well as the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League as well. This is a nice crowd in, and considering there is an admission fee as well, then they've taken their hard-earned dollars and invested it in the future of Barbados football, and that is exactly what we want to see here. 3 minutes, I think it is, from the fourth official, Mr. Seth Terrell Thorne will be his name. 3 additional minutes it is, as we slide right into minute 81, basically. And let's see what pans out here. But it'd be a brave man to predict the winner. Even although the tactics are quite different, both teams have the way before to put away the football when it comes in and around that 18-yard box. So I wouldn't even want to put my name on the block here. St. George coming forward again. There's some good work there from Clark, but he's misjudged the pass and given it away. Out comes Prescott and clears his lines for St. George as well. And foot race is won by St. Leonard's on this occasion as the ball comes in towards the 18-yard box. But coming back from an offside position would be Mikal Howard, the number 9 for St. Leonard's. And spotted really easily there by, I believe that is Hazard Weeks on the far side, is it?
There's Keel Howard.
It's Keel.
Yeah.
Okay, Keel spotting it rather brilliantly there and putting the flag in the air. St. George in possession, however, dangerously in towards the 18-yard box now. The quick dribble is decent, but he's pushed it a little too far off the right boot and over the goal line for a goal kick. Minute 82. You can see a few substitutes warming up for the men in red from St. Leonard's boys. So this is perhaps where they pull the choke, Kwame, and get something extra on the field to polish off the men from St. George. And from the St. George side of things, I'm not seeing any movement off their bench. So perhaps it is that Kevon Bishop has adjudged that this team is the one that's going to take him to victory, and he doesn't need anything else off the bench. It looks that way from here because arms are folded, and he's not really doesn't look as though he needs to call any other instructions. He knows exactly what he wants from his team at this point. But maybe if we go towards the extra time and he brings them back into the huddle, he will deploy something extra to get what he needs as far as a victory is concerned. Here comes Howard. He's been a good hold-up man as well for the St. Leonard's team for me. You know, coming into that center position, seems to be favouring the left foot a bit, but he's able to hold up the ball quite nicely with the size that he has. He's about a 180, 170, 180, big guy, and you just can't get your boot in there once he puts those arms up and so on. So that ploy is working very well for St. Leonard's. But at this point in time, this was a dangerous ball and good clearance in the end from Jarrell Prescott. This augurs well for good goalkeeping as well in Barbados. We're not seeing where the keepers are coming from, but he's definitely one for the future, as well as Jonathan Payne. Not too bad, not too far behind him as far as quality is concerned here. That's the full-time whistle here at the technical centre, the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy, and with the full-time done and dusted, we're tied 1 each in the under-19 final of the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League, with St. Leonard's Schoolboys 1 and St. George Secondary School 1 as well. Now break again, Kwame, and we come right back in a few moments' time for extra time here at Wildy.
Adios, mi amor. If you walk out through the door, goodbye, my love. I won't take it anymore. Adios, mi amor. Russian, step up like you. If you feel like you have me wrapped up around your little finger, you're wrong. And everybody feel as if I you let me chip and I'm programmed to you. Think of you, I don't can love me and I'll be broken if you walk out. But anytime you decide if I love your things I'll leave.
In the Barbados Secondary Schools Football League Under-19 final, the 2025 edition here at the BFA Technical Centre, Wildy. Two teams this evening who have battled to a 1-1 scoreline at full time, which was 80 minutes. St Leonard's School in the red jerseys and the blue and white of St George Secondary. At present, we're into that first minute of the extra time. I believe it is 2 10-minute periods as that ball is swept towards the 18-yard box here at Wildy. Crowd still with us, awaiting some excitement, perhaps the go-ahead goal in these 2 10-minute periods. And if not, we will go to the penalty shootout, where teams are tested 12 yards out to shoot the ball into the back of the nets. 5 penalties each. First of all, mandatory 5, and then if they're still tied, sudden death penalties will decide it. At present, as we head into minute 81, making some headway down the right-hand side is the St Leonard's boys in the red jerseys, and they've won themselves a free kick 45 yards out on the right, very close to the touchline, and they'll look for a good delivery into the box. 3, maybe even 4 to aim for, as we can see Mikhail Howard, the number 9, also looking for a chance to put his head onto it. We can see Valdo Messiah as well. Ball headed goalward. I believe there's a bit of pushing there on 12 yards. Free kick to be taken quickly by the St George-based centre-back in Javon Ali down the right-hand side as they go in search of goal 1 and goal 2 with Roger Collins. He's dribbled his way to the 6-yard box, but the chance averted with some good defensive work there. But Collins is a tricky little player. Shows his class each and every time he comes out for the Paradise FC team in the BFA's Premier League. And tonight he's here as well as a school player. Canterbury says the ball had not settled. Or is it a free kick in the opposite direction? Yeah, certainly looks that way from here.
It's a U-turn.
Complete U-turn there, yeah. As the St Leonard's lads tried to, a little bit of trickery there. I think that if all was theirs for some reason. And had to give it up in the end. 83 3rd minute. Down the left as St. George defend on that right-hand side for them. It's the left for St. Leonard's, and they've given away the possession. Again, St. George looking to do some damage with Aline, the number 17, came on as a substitute on 62 minutes. Clearance. Again in defence, Javon Aline for St. George. Gives it the possession chance here at near post. The shot comes in. Oh! St. Leonard's Schoolboys are back in business on 83 minutes. 80 plus 3 as far as extra time is concerned. And the cool, calm, and collected finish was what it was really all about in the end. And as the keeper came out, tucked it away under the body of the keeper. St. Leonard's School 2, St. George Secondary 1.
And we could break down that goal in layers, Trevor. The defensive header from Ali, he headed the ball too flat. You had to go more aerial there, which would allow the defense chance to reset.
Yep.
And that was the first time he wasn't in his position as last man, because in heading the ball, he then went to try to go and win it in the 1v1 situation, which wasn't on. And then the speed of Masai, we talked about the high line before, and to me, the danger of it, the way how St. George was defending, then Masai was able to beat the high line. Prescott, even though he was alert to the danger, he wasn't as agile to get to the ball, and Masai using his clinical touch. I thought he was going to lob him, but instead he went all along the carpet with the poke, and you have the defenders are dancing on the sideline, number 19. But there's still some football to play.
Yeah, good stuff there, and proper technique as far as finishing is concerned as well. Glad to see it from Rivaldo Messiah. I think when I was on commentary for some Premier League stuff, I would have seen him in I believe it was in the Prime Minister's Cup, and he does sometimes tend to get a little bit cocky and almost think that he scored before he actually scores. This time around, as you can see, he just kept the coolness and the calmness and the wherewithal that this is going to beat the keeper and not start his own little celebration kind of thing before he even gets the ball in the net. But this time around, he was really brilliant in remaining calm and focused. Again, St. George beating with the ball over the top this time. Coming forward in numbers there.
And there's a high line again. And that's one of the things that I want to see coaches pay attention to. This whole notion of defending with a flat line, or all defenders on the same axis. Someone has to be the deepest player. Because you can't focus on playing all side if the player who's on the ball is under pressure. And there you saw it, one ball over the top, and it's only because of the inadvertent bad touch from Masai that he wasn't able to take that ball in his stride and go directly to goal. But even he seems to be having some challenge in the area of his quad or hamstring, because even before the go-ahead goal, he was instructing to the technical area that he was in need of some tape. So maybe he's not 100%, but he would have given his all so far, having scored a brace.
Ooh, there it is. Sleeping at the wheel for sure. And the finish was as good as they get, though. St. Leonard storming into a 3-1 lead with Aragon. Bridgman Seal finishing with his right foot after the ball trickled off of the keeper there. And the score now moves to St. Leonard's School 3, St. George Secondary 1. And we're only 6 or 7 minutes into the extra time, Kwame.
This is what a loafer does, though. He was looking for that spill from Prescott, and once again, two red shirts converge, and as you said, Bridgman Seal was the first to react, the fastest to react, and got the easy put back from 2 yards out. But when you're in that situation as a goalkeeper, you're hoping that your defenders come to your rescue as well. I just think that they're not as switched on as they were before. Isn't to say that they were just being outplayed. I just think they didn't have that same level of conviction that they went into the break with in the first half. It's been a tale of two halves. We're in the third stanza, playing the first half of extra time. Still another half to play, another 10 minutes, plus whatever we have left here in this first half. So if they could get a goal back right away, it could still have an interesting finish to this first half of extra time, and then going into the break and playing another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, for sure. Again, sprinting away. Decent again. We'll take the keeper out. And its finish is exquisite from Rivaldo Messiah. Scored his first on 55 minutes to make it 1-0. In fact, make it 1 each, basically. The equaliser, the second, a couple minutes ago on 84, 2-1. And knocking on the door and opening that door, slamming it shut with the finish on 88 minutes. Rivaldo Messiah gets his hat-trick. St. Leonard's Boys 3, St. George Secondary 1 on 89 minutes.
Is that the commentator's curse? Just mentioning that a goal back for St. George could make it interesting. But one ball over the top again, Trevor.
Yeah.
And the speed of Messiah beating Goodman, whose legs, having played the full game, Messiah as a Premier League player, even though he's still a schoolboy, his fitness level is going to be different, his endurance is going to be different, and he pounced on that opportunity, but he said the high line. But there's no need for it. It's at the end of the first period of extra time there, and so they're just going to switch over. Seeing the gesticulation there from the fourth official, Seth Thorne.
It will be a straight switch.
So three quick goals.
They're already putting themselves in the driver's seat. The St. Leonard's team have definitely done that, pounced on each and every one of those mistakes and finished clinically.
3 goals in that's about 5 minutes. Yeah. But you as a spectator, you would say that Prescott was at fault for the third, having spilt the ball from the Ajani Payne in swinging free kick. But when we look at the two other goals, one in between, both from Messiah, the goal scorer, the case of one ball over the top and beating the defense. And in this scenario, he had a little bit more to do because he had to go around the keeper, and he still had the composure to finish, even though Goodman was trying to recover to make amends. Now we see 2 changes coming. The number 4 in does Jonathan Scott in for St. George, and also the number 5, Kieran Beckles, coming into the game.
So, St. George Secondary's school coach, Kevin Bishop, decided to make those changes, which perhaps might have been something that, in hindsight, he might have done something about it before. Ooh, that's a pull back from the St. George man there. Caution for sure on this occasion.
So Shamari Greenwich Lewis, the number 16, he has been replaced by Kieran Beckles, the number 5. Still trying to see who Jonathan Scott, the number 4, has entered the game for. It's the number 3, Goodman. So a yellow card for Kareem Wade, the number 11, St. George. Would you believe it? Just moments ago, we had a deadlock.
Yeah, looks fairly clear cut.
I know it's fairly clear cut.
Yeah, difficult. So here's the resulting free kick for the lads in red from St. Leonard's.
And credit to Coach Messiah too, as we were talking off air as to the change in approach, or change in attitude rather, in the second half from St. Leonard's. It didn't change the formation that they were playing, but whatever he had to say at halftime definitely resonated with the players, and they also saw the likes of Asquith Howell at the end of full time having a say too in the team talk.
I think they're both at St. Leonard's right now as well.
Yeah.
Because when they first, at the beginning of the game, had a quick chat with Asquith and Fabian Messiah, and I was placing Asquith somewhere else. And I told him, said, yeah, we both still St. Leonard's for sure. So I immediately gave, that was a head shaker for me, because I realized, whew, two masterminds at the final in the same team could equal to something. Very disastrous for, let's say, St. George, if they really put the tactics are there and come to bear. Yeah, and so far, so good for the guys from the St. Leonard's school as well. They've done very well to come back basically from a 1-0 score line and basically blow the opposition away at this point with a 4-1 score. With still minutes to go as well. Still need to manage the game right into the last moment, but straight away you can actually see that they've read the script very well and been able to perform on finals night here.
Is it just me or the lights have gotten a bit brighter within the last 10 minutes?
Oh.
I mean, it hasn't gotten brighter for St. George, but in the overall context, the lighting seems a bit more illuminated. A late challenge there from Porter.
Yeah, that's a caution.
But the goals, as we highlighted, came from more individual errors than really fluent passing and build up play. I mean, this all plays a role, or plays a part in the overall understanding of the game and what can happen in the moments of the game. But you get the feeling that the moment start to get a bit big for St. George going into the extra time, because make no mistake about it, fitness plays a very crucial role in your decision making as well in the moment. And a few tire legs, as we saw coming towards the end of the full time, and you could see the difference going into extra time, having less of that composure.
Yeah, and as you said, on reflection, we were thinking that maybe another player would have added some impetus for the St. George team.
Yeah, fresh legs.
Especially tied on 1-1.
Yeah.
And rather than just looking for the game to play out and for maybe a mistake to be made, take the game to St. Leonard's and see what they have. And which is what they were doing in the first half, basically, seeing what they have, and they didn't have enough to stop St. George from coming through. But with St. Leonard's being able to gain in confidence as they went along and continue to play their own game plan, then they're able to reap the sweets of it right now as well.
As we said, to the stop-start nature of how the game was going was more of a benefit to St. George. And if they could have just maintained that still, a bit longer.
Would have frustrated St. Leonard's some
a
more.
bit more. Surprised though, as the presence of Kieran Beckles, who just entered the game, plays for Empire at First Division. Surprised because he actually plays. I actually seen him play at First Division level. Surprised a player with his experience would have played. I think this is the same player, would have played for Paradise at youth level. Okay. Would have been introduced into the game a little bit earlier. not being critical of the coach, but as you said, these little fine moments in the game where you could just make a change or two. Because yeah, we did highlight it that whereas that both teams hadn't utilized their bench, but Messiah, a more seasoned coach, and if you find, especially in knockout football, coaches don't really like to use a big squad in tournaments. And he was convinced that the players he had on the field were good enough to do the job, and they came through for him. But I think St. George missed a trick in some instances. When you look at the defense of St. Leonard's, I won't say that they were the most convincing. When it looks like Zidane Clark on the ball, he never really seemed that much comfortable. He could always find a sharp pass for comfort, which means that his teammates recognize his weaknesses and put themselves in positions to help, which is great. And we mentioned the fact of Payne being the left-footed of the centre-back pair and Porter. They eventually got a rhythm and an understanding playing together. But when you look at like Samaj Best, more of a quiet leader in comparison to Ali of St. George, who has been more vocal, and looks like Wade may play no further part in this encounter.
There's a handshake there, and as you said, he's making the signal that he needs a substitution. This is the coach there, and therefore he won't play any further part in this action here. Free kick awarded, as you said before, so it is a chance to put something on target from Collins, number 10. It's 19 yards out, slightly left, curls it, dips a little bit, hits into the forehead of a defender and skips away for a corner kick. Here comes a substitution. Yeah.
Plenty of changes. Four red shirts queuing up.
10.
Xavier Marshall is the first to exit the game. I'll make it easy for you, Trevor. 15 out, 4 in, which is Azario Stout in for. Then the number 2 out is Zidane Ali.
Zidane Ali gone as well.
17 in is Tariq King. 11 out, which is Terrell Nightingale, and 3 in, which is Omar Mears. And also I see the number 19 also by Anya Moore. We're going to see who
19.
Who he's replaced. He may have replaced, who was that? 15?
Yeah, I believe Marshall was one. Xavier Marshall.
Yeah,
15 was.
Yeah, he was
listed as
for Stoke.
Yeah, 12.
4. But I know for sure Nathan Moore, the number 19, is in. Not seeing Rivaldo Messiah.
So, quick breakaway. St. Leonard's going in search of another one, far post ball, but no one sliding to take it home. Yeah, that was pretty much a close one there. St. Leonard's maintained that 4-1 lead.
Stoke to Moore.
Good chance created, but no conviction at far post to put his body on the line by sliding in and getting the touch that would have put that one at home, put it home for his beloved St. Leonard's team. Into minute 100. Here's another change to make it for the men in blue from St. George.
So he's probably in for Wade.
Yeah. So Wade, as you said, will take no further part. And then Romario Brewster, the number 12, makes his way on. And in it.
You see the confirmation there from Seth Thorne. Brewster in for Kareem Wade. Messiah still giving instructions, even with the clear 3-goal advantage. 3 minutes.
He doesn't have a clean sheet, but he wants to keep it as clean as possible and as convincing as possible. Of course, his bragging rights here at stake between the schools, as it usually is. So, again, a superb ball. Keeper comes, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, yes, he sticks out the boot and saves it. Thought that was headed homeward from this position, but good work from the goalkeeper there. Keeps the ball at bay. Prescott does well as a keeper. Shot comes in, hits the crossbar. Prescott is in no man's land, not sure where it's going to go, and another good save. Needs a clearance to clear his lines now. Gets it from a defender. St. Leonard's continue to look for another one. Some more would say they're greedy, but I'd say they're being comprehensive here. Side netting is the result of that cross. Goal kick to the men from St. George in blue. At present, still leading with a 4-1 margin over St. George Secondary, that would be. I believe we're playing some time added on for stoppages. The action continues, the crowd is still with us. And I must say they've enjoyed some genuinely good football from the youths here in beautiful Barbados. Far post ball, an attacking header onto the post this time. Keeper, no idea where it went. And there it is, final whistle from referee Darian Scantlebury. The cheers go up from the fans, the spectators, and all supporters from the St. Leonard's Boys School here at the Wildy Technical Centre in St. Michael, Barbados. Congratulations to Fabian Messiah and the crew from St. Leonard's School. A 4-1 victory, comprehensive victory over St. George Secondary in the final of the Barbados Secondary School Football League Under-19 Knockout Cup. With final words from Kwame Paris before we wrap it up here on the first floor of the Technical Centre. I'm almost sure there may be an interview or two if they can get those lined up. But Kwame, you can sum it up for us at this point in time with St. Leonard's running out 4-1 winners over St. George Secondary.
Honors even at the end of the full time, and it looked like, as you said, a game was hard to predict a winner, but just a couple of moments where a lapse in concentration created the go-ahead goal for St. Leonard's, and then ill judgment again, goalkeeper from the free kick, and St. Leonard's were able to double their lead. And at that stage, in the first half, extra time, we pretty much knew it was going to be difficult for St. Leonard's to throw away such an advantage with the level of ability they have. But we mentioned it, Trevor, not expecting the team of that caliber to play two bad halves, and they showed they might in the second half to bring the game level, and in extra time, they, being the fitter of the two teams, were able to mentally be present in the moment and do what was needed to get the job done. Clinical finishing from Messiah, the Premier League striker for the UWA Blackbirds, proving his worth and level at this under-19 school level, probably his last year at this level. And the team from Richmond, no doubt, will be happy with the victory. And Fabian Messiah with another title, another set of accolades to his reputation.
Brilliant stuff from all four teams this evening. The Lodge School, Combermere School, the St. Leonard's School, as well as St. George Secondary. Really good football from all four teams as well, in the under-16s in the first aspect, and then the under-19s came a calling, and we enjoyed it thoroughly here.
Yeah. Commiserations to Kevin Bishop. I think he did a good job. Good job in coaching this team to the finals. Good finals. Just figure that, a couple of changes maybe in hindsight we can say that comfortably from beyond the playing field, but he has the decisions to make from the touchline. And I wouldn't say that they were outplayed. I think it was a very good game in the end. And I think that he will still be pretty satisfied in his team's performance on review.
Yeah, plenty of football to look forward to as well as we cross over the landscape of Barbados. There's the BFA Premier League coming up this weekend as well. Sunday, right back here at the BFA Technical Centre. Old Boys League Masters football coming as well at the Ellerton facility on Sunday to get those games out the way. Cricket has also started, so not many venues available for football. So we've got to pack those games in wherever we can find a good surface to play on. And of course, International Masters coming 6th to the 9th of June, of which we will be playing all across the island as well. The Barbados Invitational Masters Football Classic as well. So there's the triumphant team, all over red this evening for St. Leonard's Boys School. And Fabian Messiah checking on the players and the goalkeeper, etc., dressed in the red and whites as well this evening. What a job he has done as a coach over the years, being able to take the UWI Blackbirds to the inaugural semi-professional Prime Minister's Cup for 2024. And now he has under his belt as well. For the schoolboys football.
Yeah, congratulations to St. Leonard's boys, 4-1 winners over St. George Secondary, retaining their title in this event for the Barbados Secondary Schools Under-19 football competition. I have standing next to me the hat-trick hero, Rivaldo Mosef. Congratulations again, just talk us through the game.
Two here now. Call you on. Yeah, on this one.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Wait, check 1 2.
I can see movement happening, Mike. Set. Testing 1 2 1 2.
want to ask all St. George secondary players to come over to the medal presentation area. Calling all St. George players over to the presentation area.
One, two, 1, 2.
Yeah, congratulations to St. Leonard's boys winning the Under-19 Barbados Secondary Schools Football League competition. I have standing next to me Rivaldo Messiah. They defeated St. George by 4 goals to 1. Rivaldo, just talk us through the game.
We started off pretty slow. At halftime, we were not pleased with in the first half, and I told them the second half is ours. This game is ours. This is my last final. I will give them all to win this game, and it showed. We gave our all, and we come up victorious.
What were the instructions from Coach Messiah heading into this contest?
There wasn't really instructions. It was just stick to what we do. We train Wednesday and Thursday for this, and we just execute.
How sweet was this revenge? I believe St. George, they defeated you guys in the league. How much does this one mean?
This means a lot to me, especially for my last game for my team. I told them today this is my last game, and against this team, I won it all. We won it all.
A word on your hat trick. Absolutely fantastic. You know, you paved the way by getting the equalizer and then adding it on in extra time.
Yeah, I told him, as I said, I have something. I doing it for this team. I was injured, hamstring hurting, and I still fight for this team. As I told him, I gave my all.
Talk to me though about your fitness, playing last night in the Premier League and then coming back tonight then to play for your school. Can't be easy.
It wasn't easy, but as I told him, today we just rest. I can rest. I had an injury, I heated, and I come and give my all for this team.
One more from us, a word for your fans and you know the teachers down at the St. Leonard's Boys School.
I love all y'all. Thanks for supporting me.
Yeah, congratulations again. We heard it from the man, the hat-trick hero of St. Leonard's Boys. They're champions, defeating St. George 4 goals to 1.
We are ready for the medal presentation. Never easy to have the second place of the St. George school team. Captain number 20, Javon Ali. Number 17, Jadon Ali. Number 14, Davion Chase. Number 6, Sean Greenwich. Number 5, Ron Beckel. Number 14, Davion Chase. Calling the captain and the coach, Kevin Bishop. The runner-up trophy for St. George Secondary. The MVP for the Under-19 Knockout Championship with a hat-trick in the finals, the number 10 from St. Leonard's Boys, Mr. Rivaldo Messiah. That's the most valuable player. Schools League on the 19 knockout. The best goalkeeper. Also hailing from the St. Leonard's boys, Mr. Jonathan Payne. That's Jonathan Hunt. This is Samaj Best, captain. Jonathan Hunt, most valuable goalkeeper of the tournament. Omar Mears, Kamar Porter, Zedan Aline, Sarik Holder, Terrell Nightingale. Oh. Aragon Bridgman Seal, one of the goal scorers on the night. Mikael Howard harassed the defense all night long. Amari Howell. Sean Scatterbury. Javier Marshall, the under-16 captain. Johnny Payne. Nathan Moore, aka Freckles, Azario Stout, David Giddings, Sean Gresham. That's Diego, number 14. And the man himself, Rivaldo Messiah. We want to give the medal as well to the winning captain, one of the more successful youth coaches on the island, Mr. Fabian Messiah, the winning coach. Here to receive the champion trophy. And that's it from the BFA Technical Center.